Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at how a colouring book ad campaign led to one of the most enduring Christmas stories of all time. If you've ever wondered how a red-nosed reindeer came to be a staple of Christmas, well, wonder no more. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was created by the department store chain Montgomery Ward as a way to save money on one of their annual Christmas promotions. The year was 1939. Montgomery Ward at the time gave away colouring books to get more shoppers into their stores during the holiday season. Up to this point, they simply bought these colouring books to give away. In 1939, in order to save money on the price of the books, they decided to try to make their own. Enter Robert L. May, who was a copywriter for Montgomery Ward in Chicago and was apparently known by his peers to be good at writing limericks and children's stories. Because of this, he was chosen to write a Christmas story to be used in this promotional colouring book. May was very small as a child and so was often picked on, so he decided to make it an ugly duckling type tale, which he wrote in the same verse as 'Twas a Night Before Christmas. While he was writing, he tested various versions of the story out on his 4-year-old daughter, Barbara, until he and she were both happy with the results. At which point, he then presented the story to his boss. May's boss did not like it at first, due to the fact that he felt a red nose implied the reindeer had been drinking. However, once it was partially illustrated by Denver Gillen, who worked in Montgomery Ward's art department and a friend of May's, his boss decided to approve the story. In the first year after its creation, around 2.4 million copies of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer were given away. By 1946, over 6 million copies of the story had been distributed by Montgomery Ward, which was particularly impressive considering it wasn't printed through much of World War II. After World War II, demand for the story skyrocketed, receiving its biggest boost when May's brother-in-law, radio producer Johnny Marks, created a modified musical version of the story. The first version of the song was sung by Harry Brannan in 1948, but was made nationally popular by Gene Autry's 1949 version, selling 2.5 million copies in 1949 alone, and to date has sold around 25 million copies. Despite the fact that May created the story of Rudolph and it was wildly popular, he did not at first receive any royalties from it because he had created it as an assignment for Montgomery Ward. Thus, they held the copyright and not him. In a rare move for a major business, in 1947, Montgomery Ward decided to give the copyright to May with no strings attached. At the time, May was deeply in debt due to medical bills from his wife's terminal illness. Once the copyright was made his, May quickly was able to pay off his debts, and within a few years he was able to quit working at Montgomery Ward, though just under a decade later he did go back to work for them again until retiring in 1971. So I really hope you enjoyed that video of where Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came from. If you did, please give us a like below, it really helps out, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'd love it if you would share this video with a friend. There is a sharing tab below which has loads of options. Also, over there on the right, a few other videos you'll enjoy if you enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.